The New York Giants and New York Jets will hold joint practices on Tuesday and Wednesday. Ed Valentine of Big Blue View here with some thoughts on what to expect from the Giants' perspective over the next couple of days. First, wanted to offer up a quick apology for anyone who might have been looking for a post-game podcast after Saturday's Giants victory over the Buffalo Bills. Took a couple days after that game, was in Buffalo to watch the Giants beat Buffalo 34-25. Took a couple days with the missus to celebrate the 40th anniversary of myself and Mrs. Big Blue View. So took a couple days in Western New York, place that we're pretty familiar with for a lot of reasons. But we're back in the saddle now, and we'll be in New Jersey in Florham Park on Tuesday and in East Rutherford on Wednesday to give you everything that you need to know from the Giants-Jets practices. Nick Filato of Big Blue View will also be there. So make sure you guys check out all of our coverage at bigblueview.com and here on the podcast as well. All right, so just really quick review of Saturday. Lots and lots of positives for the Giants on Saturday. The victory was nice, but the quarterback play from Russell Wilson, from Jackson Dart, the rookie first-round pick, even from Jameis Winston, Tommy DeVito, quarterback play was good. First-team play on offense and defense was really good, with the exception of a couple penalties on substitute left tackle James Hudson, who didn't play badly other than those two penalties. Lots of good stuff from the rookies, from Jackson Dart, from Abdul Carter, from fifth-round pick Marcus Bowe, who played quite a bit at right tackle, a little bit at left tackle. Drew Raves from Brian Baldinger. Really good sign from veteran place kicker Graham Gano, who made 3 field goals of 50, 51, and 53 yards. The question with Gano has been, can he still be trusted from that kind of distance? He's made a career or franchise record number of field goals from beyond 50 yards for the Giants. But at 38, coming off a couple seasons with leg injuries, there are questions about what he can be relied on to do. And now, granted, it was 86 degrees in Buffalo. It was sunny. There was little to no wind, perfect kicking conditions. But it was really good to see Gano strike the ball well. I think all 3 of those kicks were made with distance to spare. So really good sign from Graham Gano. As I said, really positive day all around for the Giants. They scored more than 34 points. And a lot of guys played well. So really good day, for New York as they try to get ready for the 2025 season. And I've said this in other places. I was really, really happy with Brian Daboll's decision to play Russell Wilson and to play as many starters who were healthy as he could play. Giants have been embarrassed in their last 2 season openers. They need to do whatever's possible to get ready for week 1 against the Washington Commanders so that they're able to play a competitive quality football game. They haven't done that in their last 2 openers, and it really is a necessity for them this year to be ready to play with that brutal opening stretch. Washington, at Dallas, home with Kansas City, home with the Chargers. So I thought Saturday was a good step in the right direction. All right, let's spin forward to the joint practices on Tuesday and Wednesday and what I would really like to see. What I'd really like to see is a continuation of what we saw on Saturday. Can the Giants build on that? Can they continue to have good pass protection, which Russell Wilson lauded, which Brian Daboll lauded, which Jackson Dart lauded? I think there were 51 dropbacks on Saturday. That's the number that Brian Daboll gave us. There were 45 passes, maybe 51 dropbacks, including situations where quarterbacks ran with the ball. No sacks, only I think a half a dozen hits on quarterbacks. So really good pass protection, from the Giants. Can they build on that? Can that continue? So many questions year after year after year about the Giants' offensive line, and so many questions this year about when are we going to see Andrew Thomas, who's still on the PUP list, still, coming back from that Lisfranc injury. And the longer he's on PUP, the more concerned you have to get. But good signs, from the offensive line against the Bills. Want to see that continue. Want to see the first team defense continue to build. Would like to see, some of the depth players, particularly in the secondary, do a little bit better. Tay Banks played the entire first half on Saturday. And say what you want about Tay. Maybe there was a ball he could have gotten his hands on. I think he told a couple of the media members that he saw the ball in the air and simply turned the wrong way on one ball. But Banks didn't play badly in his half of action. So maybe he can build on that. But really what you want to see from the Giants is a continuation. You don't want to see regression after Saturday. I would like to see, a couple less penalties. There were, James Hudson had a couple of costly penalties on the Giants' first drive. Thomas Fidone, the rookie tight end, had a penalty. There were a couple of roughing the passer penalties that were called. And question those if you want. But defenders have to remember how the game is called now. If you hit the quarterback in any way, shape, or form a little bit late or with a little bit too much of your body weight, a little bit too directly, and drive him into the ground, it's going to be called a penalty whether it should be or not. That's just how the NFL is now. So really for me, I want to see a continuation of the good things that we saw. Would like to see Dart continue to play well. Would like to see Marcus Bowe continue to play well. Would like to see Abdul Carter continue to play well. Another big thing for me is let's see which of the guys who didn't play on Saturday participate in these two joint practices. And Brian Daboll made it clear that whether it was injury related or whether it was simply medical recommendation, based on rest and workload and all of those kinds of things, that certain guys not play on Saturday, that there were medical reasons for anybody who didn't get on the field on Saturday. And that included guys like Malik Neighbors, Dexter Lawrence, Evan Neal, surprisingly Jalen Hyatt, Cordell Flott, who's competing with Tay Banks for that cornerback 2 job. A couple of other guys competing for roster spots at cornerback, Art Green, Trey Hawkins, Corey Black, the rookie 7th round pick, Cam Scatterbu, the rookie running back who had people so excited earlier in training camp. I'm very, very curious. I would actually expect Neighbors, Lawrence to get on the field and participate. My guess is the Giants didn't want to expose those guys to game action on Saturday against the Bills. My educated guess is that both Neighbors and Dexter Lawrence take at least some snaps against the Jets in 11-on-11 periods, probably participate in some one-on-one action if a couple of those periods are held. Evan Neal, I don't know. Evan Neal was apparently banged up in practice a couple days before the Jets game. Reps at guard would be incredibly valuable for Neal at this point. He's not going to win a competition with Greg Van Roten for that job on the sideline. And he's not going to win it. He's not going to win it without reps, without experience, without going through live action. So, and I've said before, I think it would be good for the Giants if Neil can win that job. He's still a 25-year-old player. And Greg Van Roten, he's a 35-year-old guy who's fine. He's a stopgap. He's a short-term answer. He's okay. But it would be best for the Giants if Evan Neal could win that job and play well and push Van Roten to a swing interior offensive line position where he could back up at the guard spots and at center. He would be a perfect candidate for that sort of veteran swing interior offensive lineman role. But Neal has to win the job first. Also, these reps are huge for Jalin Hyatt. One of the things that Brian Daboll said on Saturday after the game, and we were talking to him about Jackson Dart, and he was saying that the Giants need to make more plays for Dart for themselves on the outside at the wide receiver position. And in all honesty, he didn't use Montrell Washington's name, but I think he was referring to Montrell Washington. Washington, in my post-game review, I gave Washington a Quilly, which is half kudos and half wet willy, a situation where he did some good and some bad during the game. He made 3 catches for 60 yards, took one short play, and turned it into a 28 or 29-yard gain, with a couple of nifty moves. Showed some burst, showed some ability to make guys miss. But Washington had a drop on 3rd and 7 on a ball that, while maybe not perfectly thrown, he was open. It would have been a first down. It's a ball that an NFL wide receiver has to catch. Had another play where it was a little bit of a contested catch, a little bit of a physical bump from the cornerback he was matched up with. But again, it's a one-on-one play. It's a ball that Jackson Dart put on Washington's numbers. It's a play that an NFL wide receiver needs to make. So I think that's what Daboll was referring to. So let's see. Let's see if Jalin Hyatt can get on the field during these practices and make a couple of those plays. I think, Darius Slayton's been sidelined a little bit too. I wouldn't be surprised if the Giants might be looking at the wide receiver position as a spot where they might use a waiver claim. They're number 3 in the waiver wire order. Once we get to cut downs here at the end of the preseason, and I think there's an opportunity for somebody to step up at wide receiver, or the possibility that the Giants will go out, maybe still sign Gabe Davis, or maybe look at a veteran wide receiver, a reliable wide receiver who gets dropped from another team, as another option for the Giants on the outside. I'm also very curious to see when Andrew Thomas comes off the physically unable to perform list. The Giants haven't given us much information about Thomas. They've simply said he's continuing to work, continuing to rehab. He'll be on the field when he's ready to be on the field. We've seen him outside doing agility drills, doing a little bit of running 2 or 3 times since training camp began, but not a whole lot. And the longer this goes for Thomas, the more concerned I think you're justified in being when it comes to what Thomas's status is going to be for week 1. Anyway, Giants fans, as I said at the top of the show, I'll be out at Florham Park with Nick Filato on Tuesday. We will both be in East Rutherford on Wednesday. So please make sure that you check out all of our coverage at the redesigned Big Blue View website. And also, check out our shows here on YouTube as we give you all the coverage that we possibly can of your New York Giants. Also, please remember, like, share, and subscribe to support the channel. Please stay safe out there, take care of each other, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.